I'm honestly so ready for this election to be over. So I want to talk to you about this unhinged political ad, but before we get into that, hi. Hello, it's been a while since you've seen me. First off, I want to apologize for whatever is happening right now in my background. I've completely rearranged my office. I gutted it, I cleaned out my whole office, and I completely flipped my desk around. And then I kind of realized I can't film in the same way that I used to, right before I sat down. And I just want to film my video. So just bear with me with all the weird things going on. But I do apologize for ghosting on you. I'm gonna just be honest. This all got really overwhelming for me and I kind of lost my creative spark. So I took some time to just focus on other aspects of my life and also kind of figure out what I even want this channel to be. And I started my TikTok 2 years ago just because I wanted a place to talk about ideas, and that desire hasn't really changed. So we're gonna jump right back in on the eve of election night to talk about this atrocious ad that they released in support of Kamala Harris. The thing that struck me the most maybe about this ad is just the timing of it. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts around it and you'll hear all of them, but the timing of it is impeccable. You know, in the last home stretch, last days of the election, this airs. Yeah. First off, before I get too much farther, let's see the latest attempt to appeal to women right before a pivotal election.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
Lie to your husband is certainly a strategy. So the creators of this train wreck are a nonprofit group by the name of Vote Common Good, whose goal seems to be scooping up religious voters and making them Democrats. I wonder how that's going for them.
And they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
But this hasn't been the only instance of encouraging people to be secretive about their choice of candidates during the last days of the election cycle. Liz Cheney also repeated this hide your vote sentiment at a recent campaign, actually here in Michigan, expressing that this election is about right and wrong, not political parties. I mean, I can agree with her on that one, but we probably have very different ideas about what right and wrong mean. She went on to say that people can vote with their conscience, even if they have to keep it secretive, and then encourage Republican voters to vote for Kamala Harris, whatever. Michelle Obama had similar sentiments.
And if you are a woman who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter.
Lefties online echoed the coerced and controlled housewife narrative, reminding women that their vote was something they didn't have to share with anyone, most of all their husband. Over and over again, Democrats imply conservative women are married to domineering and overbearing men. Glamour published this article entitled, "Can My Husband Find Out Who I Voted For?" It reads, as election day approaches, married women across America are asking, can my husband find out who I voted for? At least, that's the bet that some Kamala Harris supporters are making, which is why they are reminding women that no one, not even your Trump-supporting spouse, has to know who you vote for. So women aren't even asking this question. They're just deciding to write an entire article about it based on the fact that Kamala Harris supporters assume that this is what Republican women are asking. Or women who are married to Republican men, I guess. Some of y'all need more conservative friends because you don't understand our life. There's also this ongoing guerrilla post-it note campaign. Apparently, women are leaving sticky notes with messages promoting Democrats, like specifically in locations for other women to find. So in like bathrooms and locker rooms and, I don't know, offices and stuff like that. To top it all off, I also came across this Vote Without Fear campaign. And they have some pretty normal information, like voting rules for each state. But again, we see a post entitled, "Can my spouse find out who I voted for this election?" Come to find out, this is sponsored by a platform that provides resources after divorce. So they are quite literally in the business of broken marriages. The contrast of this with the "your friends and family can see how often you vote" intimidation ad that was put out by a highly questionable super PAC is giving some mixed signals, I think.
Election day is on November 5th. Who you vote for is private, but if you vote, it's public information. After this election, your voter record will be updated, and your friends and family will be able to see how often you vote. Whether by mail, early, or in person on November 5th, make sure you have a plan. And do your civic duty by voting on or by November 5th.
So, like, I don't have to tell anybody who I vote for, but I definitely have to tell them when I vote. Like, are my family and friends entitled to know how often I vote if I have to hide my vote from them? Very confusing. I don't know what's going on. And there are a few narratives at play amongst all of this. One being that Democratic women are trapped under the oppressive rule of their conservative husbands. It's generally the same towards Republican women, but it's like we get even more crap because, you know, we're voting against our interests. Okay. But it's all very condescending either way. And quite honestly, this implication that my husband is some kind of abuser pressuring me into voting the way he wants rather than recognizing that, like, I just agree with Republican policies and values more, you know, it's kind of the most offensive thing I've seen in a while. Also, the insinuation that all Republican men are abusive and controlling is a lie, of course, but we'll entertain it for like 2 seconds really quick to just point out that the only solution that they are offering women is vote for me. They are capitalizing on and trivializing the literal pain of women who actually are trapped in abusive marriages, which are on both sides of the aisle, by the way. And they're doing all of this just to get votes. So there's no real concern for women here. It's just a political play that they've been running for a really long time. Really look at this. They are implying that women who are married to Republican men, conservative men, are trapped and can't speak for themselves, you know, essentially, or are pressured into voting a certain way. And I'm not saying that that never happens either. There is a lot of nuance in this conversation, which is, again, why this is really frustrating, just because there are women in those situations. And it is completely exploiting their situation to use this as some kind of ad campaign and then, like, wink, wink, look, he's so stupid. He doesn't see me putting this Kamala Harris sticker on. Like, come on. They aren't offering any resources for these women. They aren't offering any policies even that might help them. No, they just want your votes. That's it. So vote for them, and who knows, maybe your life will get better. I mean, in fact, they're making things worse for women. Why did they alter Title IX by adding gender identity, which is completely at odds with sex-based discrimination protections? Why do their policies allow men to expose themselves in front of little girls in locker rooms? Why are they placing males in women's prisons, giving them easy access to victims? These quote-unquote inclusive policies continue to just hurt women by inviting dangerous men into places they have no business being in. But they want me to believe that the true danger, the real threat, is the person I'm married to. Oh, fucking gay. Frankly, I am just tired of a political party who claims to be the champions of women while they've spent years diminishing us to birthing people and uterus havers, erasing what womanhood is by claiming it's some kind of flippant feeling. They shout about protecting women's rights while absolutely destroying our sense of safety in places of high vulnerability, and they'll let men take all of our trophies, all of our titles. Democrats will quickly label men as evil abusers, yet actively support policies that favor men who claim to be women over actual women. I mean, they made this ad insinuating right-wing men are trying to control how their wives vote, yet they'll look me dead in the face and tell me that I shouldn't worry about Kevin putting on a dress and demanding to be called Karen and threatening me if I don't comply with that. In fact, they'll actually encourage it. Democrats scream from the hilltops that they support women while degrading motherhood at all costs and upholding abortion against all else. You want women to have a choice? Okay. Did you know that 40% of women who seek abortions cite financial reasons as a significant factor in their decision making? You know, maybe if the government stopped stealing all of our money, we would be able to actually afford the children that Democrats are encouraging us to abort. Speaking of financial hardships, a huge swath of Americans have been struggling to even keep their head above water. And it's even worse now at the end of the Biden and Harris administration compared to when they entered office. Earlier this year, LendingTree released their 2024 Household Financial Insecurity Report, finding that more households are financially insecure now than they were just 2 years ago. Over a third of Americans expressed experiencing significant difficulty in paying for regular household expenses, which included things like food and rent or your mortgage, car payments, medical payments. Women were also more likely to be financially insecure than men. So what exactly are Democrats doing for women besides just making things harder and more unsafe? They have a pretty bad habit of using this tactic a lot too, just propping up a given demographic group of people when they want their votes and then discarding them the moment that they become inconvenient to support. And they're just doing the same to women. What's crazy to me is just this entire idea of lying to the people in your life about who you're voting for, about your choice of political candidate. Like, things are that bad that seemed like a good idea. You should not want people to lie to each other. You should want to encourage open and honest discussions. For people who spend a lot of time talking about empathy and understanding, they have none of that when it comes to disagreement, man. They don't want to take the time to empathize with you, to try to understand where you're coming from, to try to understand maybe that your own experiences in life have shaped your opinions, and perhaps you're not so hateful after all. They're like, la 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 la. It's crazy. And I laugh to keep from weeping. I need more tea. I think all of these campaigns in conjunction with one another just highlight that Democrats don't want to seek unity. They don't want to seek compromise or common ground. It's just always their way or the highway. And they'll just happily carve a path to victory in the ruins of the relationships of their supporters. And it's not anything new, but it's just really surprising. I don't know why I'm surprised, but it is surprising about how blatant this messaging is, how blatant the anti-family stuff is. Like, you're actively telling people to just put a political wedge within their marriage and thinking that's a great idea. That's gross. And especially for somebody like me who without my husband, man, without being talking to him and just hashing it out and having somebody right there who knew me very well and could just talk through things with me to get me to maybe just consider other perspectives, other things, other ideas, other solutions to the same problem that I was talking about, whatever that be at the time. I wouldn't have been prompted to really start reanalyzing what I thought about things. I don't have to hide who I'm voting for from my husband. He is not a threat. Democrats trying to win my vote with lies feels like a much bigger threat right about now. Definitely does not appeal to this female Michigan voter. Missed your mark there. Maybe you should stop pretending that, our husbands hate us all. The only husbands who hate their wives are the ones on Twitter. Everybody knows that, okay? All jokes aside, it's been known that political tensions have been destroying relationships and putting a wedge between people. And it's become harder and harder to talk about people in a civil way when it comes to politics. So for any political party to actively be encouraging that is, in my opinion, just an attack on families, on marriages, conservative and liberal alike. Now that you've heard my opinion on the matter, I would actually really love to hear yours. Do you agree with the messaging? Do you disagree? Do you think that attack ad campaigns are helpful in the general political discourse? Do you also stalk your wife at the polls? I would love to know. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all of my subscribers who have just held on along the way. You a real one. And I swear I will see you in the next one, which won't be very long at all. It'll be soon. I promise. Okay, bye.